world where comics, movies, games, rumors, and Kardashians come at you 24/7, 3 champions will rise to defend you from wasting precious time, money, and emojis. BK, Nate, and Derreck will show you how to do it the player way.
Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, we are back another week, the Player Way Podcast. That's right, baby. Exactly, we going down. It's going down. It's on once again. Patron once again. I'm your boy BK with my co-captains Nate.
Yo.
And Derreck.
You already know who it is.
Corrupting
Extra.
the system.
Extra.
Exactly.
Read all about
Exactly. So extra. Hashtag so extra. Exactly. You saw how I front loaded Nate there.
I appreciate that. I didn't know if he was going to say he was corrupting the system, but I'll take it. Hey, any marketing is good marketing over here.
Oh, we know how much you guys love marketing.
Speaking of that marketing, remind me to tell you guys a story about said marketing movie before we get into the gentleman's bet a little bit later. But what you guys been up to this week, Derreck?
Well, as you know, the past few episodes, I keep mentioning this show, Abstract, the Art of Design, and I'm completely enamored with this show. I need to at least take 1 second to expand on what I stated last time when I talked about the gentleman who made the Air Jordans, how it's designed, Tinker Hatfield. I failed to mention his name, but Tinker Hatfield completely changed that whole game there. And I watched a few more. Watched the Ralph Giles, the Chrysler designer. He actually is an amazing story. He's in his early 30s, and now he's head design for Fiat, that division of Chrysler. But what really caught my eye, my 2 favorite episodes are the Tinker Hatfield one, and then the Paula Scheer, the graphic designer. And before, when I discussed this with Nate, he had mentioned that. I thought that he said she's a great topographer. I'm like, all right, so she draws the topography of the land. I don't know what that means. But he actually said typographer, which means she pretty much does artwork with words. And when I say that, she did a whole art exhibit where she's done the entire United States map, where she's written like every single zip code in every state and the county lines and all these things. And she did the album cover for Boston, the very famous one where you see the spaceships leaving Earth blowing up. They're actually guitars, and I didn't even know that she did those type of things. And the public, she does a lot of the artwork for the Met, how they market there in New York. While we were in New York back in October, Brian, anything that we saw that had to do with the Met was pretty much her design on flag posts and everything. And Nate really, like I said, told me how good she was, but I just watched this and I was just completely fascinated. I love seeing a genius at work, and to see her running around her office full of designers, and when they're asking her a question, she grabs a napkin and a map pencil and draws exactly what she's trying to envision for them and just goes off. I mean, it would take me 3.5 weeks to draw what she drew just to copy it. But Just wanted to I'm just completely fascinated. It's a very good docuseries, BK. Definitely something that is right up your alley, to catch up on that. But I really wanted to thank Nate for really, fueling the fire on the Paula Scheer one, since he is a fellow graphic designer.
Typography is something I really admire because it's something I'm not good at. I'm not good with
what
text,
is typography?
You're
You're the expert on this. I gave a very general definition of it.
God, I don't know the easiest way to make an art with words.
Yeah, it's so
stretching it into different shapes, forming shapes with words. Anything that does with font type.
Yes,
anything, and it's something that I struggle with. I'm not good at it.
And not only that, but it's almost a lost art because it's one of those things that was trendy for a while, but has roots going much further back when font was something that was actually, when you actually had to cut out, when stencils. Fonts were actually these folders of stencil, exactly, and you had to actually draw everything out and cut it to spec. So if you like that, Derek, you should watch this documentary called Helvetica.
Oh.
I highly recommend it. Helvetica is so good. Have you seen it yet, Nate?
No, I'm just saying I use that font quite a bit.
Have you not seen Helvetica either?
No.
Oh, you guys got to watch it. Helvetica is documentary, and I won't go too deep in it because we got a lot to talk about. It's a documentary about how Helvetica is the base font for everything. The Gap, some parts of McDonald's in certain cases, Apple, like everybody who talks about amazing, the standard when you look at the iPhone or anything like that, the mainstay fonts that the companies use, and how a font invokes a certain feeling of stability in people, and it's what the beginnings of that font came from, and what a font actually is. Many people don't realize what fonts are.
That's something that I was completely educated, because I've just been so used to clicking the down arrow in Microsoft Word and just seeing all these different fonts, but you don't actually realize that someone actually designed each letter of the alphabet, hand drawn, like just to create and come up, be like, what is this going to invoke? And like actual artistic vision to do it. It's just something that it's so easy to take for granted. However, she just completely opened my eyes to it. Like I said, I didn't even realize that she did hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of album art for so many well-known artists. But anyway, I really recommend. I mean, if I'm a nerd, I like a good docuseries. This is a good one. These are geniuses at their craft. Like I said, I don't know if this one or the Tinker Hatfield one is my favorite one yet, but it definitely consumed most of my weekend. What about you, Nate?
Speaking of docuseries, I watched All or Nothing, which is a docuseries on Amazon Prime, which follows an NFL team for the season. Sort of similar to Hard Knocks, but Hard Knocks is limited to preseason.
Yeah,
which
Hard Knocks is more following
is
the
interesting
journey of, like,
in
a
itself,
rookie and like new people and
Yeah,
a team
people.
coming together before the season.
And
starts.
will they make the team, or who is going to make the team?
Exactly. That was
Which is why I personally don't like that series so much, because I'm the type of guy who doesn't really like preseason football all that much. I like when there's something at stake.
I feel like
there is something at stake.
It
Those
peaked
guys
years
are,
ago.
Well, yeah, I agree with it probably did peak a few years ago. But the thing is, for those guys, it is at stake. Like the free agents, the guys that maybe are veterans. That's what I liked about Hard Knocks when it came out. However, the second I started watching this, and I didn't realize that I'd already seen a couple episodes of this on just NFL Network. This one, Nate, man, this is a good one.
Yeah.
All or Nothing. Nate,
I like that it's unedited.
Give us a rundown, cause
I love hearing that Arizona coach just, you fucking idiots.
Yeah. So Arizona was the first season. Second season, it follows the Los Angeles Rams, which the first season, of course, Arizona had that amazing season, made it all the way to the NFC Championship, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably the opposite end of the spectrum with the Los Angeles Rams. I think they went 4-12 last year. But what's really interesting to me is,
all right, it's our big move to LA. Let's show
if you guys get to it. Yeah, they show that aspect of it. They show my favorite part of it was Coach Fisher getting fired. And these things happen throughout the season. You read about it in news. This team has a bad year. They let the coach go mid-season. But I never really thought about the impact that has on a team. And when they show that episode, you see a room full of players crying. And not in a bad way, but, they're thinking on their end, like, God, we performed so badly that we got this guy fired. This guy gave us his all, and we couldn't do the same for him. And I never thought about it that way. And that was sort of enlightening to me, because, I mean...
Jeff Fisher is a great head coach. He was the longest tenured head coach.
He's a mediocre head coach. I mean, look, all his teams usually perform 8-8 or below. You had a few good years with the Titans. I hear Bruce Arians
in your voice right now.
But let's be real. He had 7 years with the Rams.
Coach Fisher is not the type of coach that's going to go 8-8 or 6-9 or whatever it is it's going to be. Okay?
Jeff Fisher will be in
Meanwhile,
the Hall of Fame. I'll just go ahead and let y'all know. Jeff Fisher will be in the Hall of Fame.
But if you watch the first episode, it's kind of hard to give him a lot of credit. Like, I love how the what I love about this series, if you go to watch All or Nothing, it is on Amazon. Okay, Amazon Prime, it's free to watch there. Okay, you need to at least get. There's a lot of series that people will tell you to get on Amazon to watch. This is the one to watch. If you're the type of person that's in, shout out to Darius Prather. If you're the type of guy that's like, man, I'm ready for football season. I need something to get me through. This will get you through in ways that like I can't even imagine. It's so delicious. The first season is about this triumphant team and what winning really means to every person and what's at stake. And then the business of football when you don't succeed. And this is what happens. And it's, I mean, the first episode of season 2 shows you, I felt bad at the beginning because they show you, Tom Brady, this triumphant, and then they show the Atlanta Falcons, my Falcons, walking back to the, man, it made me feel so terrible.
They had a 25 to 3 point lead. A 25 to 3 point lead.
We'll never. And then it was still too soon.
2 minutes left in the third quarter happened, and then Tom Brady said, let me." And
so it was like, so it showed you like season 1 was about the Tom Brady story. Season 2 is the Falcons story. And if you love to watch a train wreck, I'm not even through the whole season. It's just the first episode shows. They don't even tell you what he's talking about. Cherish being in the NFL. Being in the NFL is a gift. And you're like, what is he talking about? And then he walks out the room. You're like, oh, it's going down this season. Like somebody's getting fired this season. Like last season, they like showed like the guy walking around. Hey, we got your extension. Want to show you how good you've been doing for us. This is this. They kind of hid when guys got fired or like tried to make it like, well, he got hurt and that's why he got let go. No, this season they going in. Like if you want to know, like this is like. The show, and I feel like I'm talking too much. I just love the show so much. So I'm
no, your energy lets other people know.
If you love that,
if you love football,
if you love that show, if you love that show on HBO with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and it's kind of like this, Ballers. It's this comedy show. This about it's got some comedic and action drama about the business of football, and that's why that show does so well. This is. You gotta watch it. If you are a person who has ever loved football, like truly love football, you will get this series. This series was made for you.
And I love football. It's my favorite sport. I'm in Texas, born and raised. Football is my favorite sport. And yes, every other sport has so many other games to play. Baseball, 162. Hockey has like 86. Basketball has 82. You have all these other things. And as you said, one of the things that one of the Cardinals says in the season 1, he was like, we only have 16 games. Every single game matters. In basketball, you got 82. You can mess up. You can have a 15-game losing streak and still come back and be in the playoffs. In football, like, I'm sorry, man, you're 8-8. That's not all right, but you're going home and you didn't do anything, and you're going to be shunned, and you're looked at like you just must have lost, had a winless season. And because it's true, every game matters. You have 19 games to win the Super Bowl, and you have 32 teams to split that with, and everybody's hungry.
Oh yeah, and you can reach week 9 or 10 and know your season's lost.
And
because mathematically you're not going to.
And you still got to play. And you still got to play.
And you still. And the reason why you got to play is because if you don't play, you'll get a big slip.
Gets fired.
Or your job's on the line.
Not to take anything away from Coach Fisher. He's obviously well respected by the teams.
Of course,
coaches. Yeah.
Both as a player and a coach.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Statistically speaking, he doesn't have the best head coaching record.
He definitely doesn't.
He has a long tenure.
He has a long tenure. He doesn't. Yeah. He's just shy of 500, I think, overall his career.
I think so.
And let's be clear. Let's be clear for a second, because I think this is what Derreck was getting at too. He has a long-standing record of kind of okay seasons. He doesn't have like a bunch of terrible seasons.
No.
Like he's not a terrible coach. He has some okay seasons.
Yeah, back in like 2001. When was the Titans-Rams Super Bowl?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, Jeff Fisher is.
I mean, he lucked out with Steve McNair and Eddie George.
Yeah.
Jeff Fisher is a guy that's known for his defensive coaching capabilities. And everybody who watches football, they know that if you're playing against a Jeff Fisher team, you're going to be sore for the next few days, because even if the Rams don't do much, everybody knows that the Rams still play hard. Look at, I mean, they play their division. They almost play the Seahawks to a draw every single year. So, and it's not like Jeff Fisher always gets blown out. A lot of his losses are just by like 2, 3, 4 points. They just heartbreaking losses. But like you said, in football, a loss is still a loss and a win is still a win. And the difference between a 5-4 team versus an 8-2 team is a huge difference. It's a huge difference. And Jeff Fisher just, he got to work at home for free after that performance. Simple as that. But yeah.
Moment of silence for Jeff Fisher.
Moment of silence for Jeff Fisher. Yeah. But yeah. That's nice, man. What about you, BK? What you been up to this weekend, man?
You are now entering the game.
Well, as you can see, we sometimes you'll listen to the podcast and you'll hear us refer to something that we see. So sometimes we have to describe vocally what we are doing visually. And what you see visually on my hat is a replica of Ash Ketchum's hat from the Pokemon series.
Oh, it does have the green swath, if you will. I don't even know how to describe that.
And I actually bought it this week here in Atlanta. Down at downtown Norcross, they had a park that was completely shut down. Lillian Webb Park in Norcross was completely shut down for a Pokemon Go event. For all of Norcross to come and actually do it. And it was very well attended. I was really surprised that many people are still playing Pokemon Go in this area. And that's the thing is while it seems like in a gamer chat, why we still talking about Pokemon Go, because Pokemon Go has 40 million active users per month still. So it's still a very big game. It's still very important to the point where, the weekend of the 22nd here in July coming up, there's the first North American Pokemon Go Festival is in Chicago. They sold tickets. I think they were going for about $70 a piece, and within the first hour, they sold out worldwide.
Whoa.
So people are flying in from, like, there's this YouTuber named Reversal. He's flying in from Europe to come to this thing in Chicago. People are flying from all over the place to go to Chicago and play this game and take advantage of some of the new updates they made for the annual. If you remember, Pokemon Go, most of everybody was playing it this time last year. It came out this time last year. This is the 1 year anniversary, and to celebrate it, this hat that I have on, Pikachu is going to be wearing out in the wild. So you will actually catch wild Pikachu for the next 3 weeks with this as a limited edition, and that's going to be important when they start opening up trading. You're going to need to have some of those rare and shiny type Pokemon to be able to stay competitive. So I wouldn't be talking so much about Pokemon Go this week if Amanda Nunes actually showed up at UFC 213. That was actually what my weekend was supposed to be about, but she apparently came down with an acute case of sinusitis. She was medically cleared to fight. Dana White basically you know how you're supposed to have your own employees' backs on television in front of people?
Usually.
Give the story. You're supposed to feed that story that your PR department says, hey, Amanda Nunes is an amazing fighter, and I know if she could be here, she would be here. These people work none of that. Last night in the post-fight press conference, because I did not order the pay-per-view because they didn't have a pay-per-view worth watching. Shout out to Brad Davis, though, because Brad Davis did watch it and gave us a play-by-play on Facebook and did defend it because he's a true fan of UFC. But for everybody else who didn't want to spend $50 on a non-main event UFC, I just decided to wait up later to watch the post-fight press conference. And during that post-fight press conference, Dana White basically said she was medically cleared to fight. And in my entire history of being a promoter, no one has ever not shown up to a fight. I will not promote this as a main event ever again. This division will not be promoted as a main event for a pay-per-view ever again. And he didn't say while that woman is holding the title, but essentially that's what he was saying. Like, she's not getting a main event on a pay-per-view ever. Like, that's crazy.
That's nuts, man. And I have a
so,
quote.
like, personal reasons?
What'd you say, Nate?
Sorry. No, is it like personal reasons? Does he have like some sort of vendetta against?
No, it's not that. It's that division, the bantamweight women's division, has been that was the division that
Ronda.
What's her name? Ronda Rousey. Yeah, thank you, Derek. Ronda Rousey was the reigning defending champ of, and the interim champion was Amanda Nunes. Amanda Nunes defeated in spectacular fashion around winter of this year. And her first main title defense Well, no, it's not her first main. It's her first major title defense with Valentina Shevchenko, who people believe was going to win last night. She was favored to win last night. So, I personally am a Amanda Nunes person, but and everybody wanted to see this fight. It was a fight that was probably more popular than the John Jones Daniel Cormier fight, to be totally honest with you. And the fact that it didn't go down is very deflating. And so I think with all of the mess that's been happening with that division, and there's probably some problems he's been having with Amanda Nunes, because she's not the most, there's a language barrier there, but not only that, but she's also not the nicest person to promote. She does a lot of things to not make herself a fan favorite. I'm pretty sure she probably has a chip on her shoulder. And so I think he was kind of like, I'm done.
He had a very interesting quote according to MMAfighting.com where he
just
straight up says,
Go ahead.
It's not like she was like, I'm refusing to fight. She said, I don't feel right. I don't feel good. And then he goes on to say, I think it was 90% mental and maybe 10% physical. I think a lot of fighters have had times where they don't feel right. So, yes, that's the quote. But in essence, he's saying, you're a physical fighter, and other fighters deal with, I'm sure, a lot more than sinusitis before they get into a fight. And if you're just backing out because of that, he, like you said, BK, he was done. He was obviously done. His body language in that press conference was seriously like, I'm like, and it matched his words. I'm never in my life will I promote you again.
Oh yeah, I mean, as a guy who works in production, I hire guys who I pay a lot of money to be project managers for these events and shows. And there is no looking at your client and saying, hey, your lighting technician who programmed all of your intelligent moving lights, he's sick. He can't be here tonight. So your show won't have moving lights. Like, there is no call in. Nate, you understand that too. You work in a business too where you might be going on site and living with people for weeks at a time producing graphic art. You can't just say, somebody's sending you, hey, deadline's in an hour, where are we at on that? I'm sick, I can't do it. You can't do that. So Amanda Nunes, in essence, did that. She did what she can't do. She only works however many, like, I know that she has training camps and stuff like that. So the next thing I'm going to say is going to sound like I don't understand that, but I do. I'm prefacing it with that to say this. Your job is to show up and fight. And you only do that 2, maybe 3 times a year. And if you can't show up, and not because you didn't make weight, not because you are medically not cleared to fight, you're medically cleared and you had a stuffy nose and you don't want to fight because you know you're going to lose. But maybe you knew you were going to lose anyway and you were looking for an out, which is what Dana White was getting at, which what you were getting at, Derek. So 100% good quote on that. That was taken straight from MMAfighting.com, who got that directly from the press conference because that's the quote I was referring to. So, I would talk more about MMA, but I'm kind of disgusted. Most fans are upset. Michael Johnson got his head beat in over the weekend again at the Tough finale by Justin Gaethje. It was probably one of the best fights of all time. People say that this probably should have been the main event of the pay-per-view. It was the night before a free fight for the Ultimate Fighter finale in Las Vegas. So shout out to Michael Johnson, Justin Gaethje for giving everybody a really great fight, but shame on UFC 213. They got to get better at making sure that these fighters are going to fight, do something to get this going on, because this is the type of thing that will this is the reason why boxing sells better than MMA. Things like this. So anyway,
if
that
Conor
was my
McGregor
weekend.
Said he had sinusitis before the Floyd Mayweather fight.
Bro.
Can you imagine if he said that?
Bro.
Yeah,
Bro.
you can't. I mean, when you're getting paid over $100 million, they'll put you in the ring.
They will wheel him
You'll
out
be
there
carried
and hold his IV
into the ring. Yeah.
Oh, I cannot even imagine.
That's how much do you think this woman's getting paid for this fight that she canceled on? You know,
I'm not sure, but it was in the millions for sure. She's a champion.
Yeah, so it's like you're getting paid that much money. You know, it's sort of.
I mean,
really
here's what she had to say. She went to Twitter and she said, everyone is waiting to hear my side, so here it is. I have chronic sinusitis. I fought with it before, but this time it didn't work out. During the weight cut, I was unable to breathe and felt off balance from the pressure in my sinuses. I was not feeling well enough to risk getting punched in the head with such pressure. I was taken to the hospital after weigh-ins, and they only checked my blood and dehydration, so cleared me based on that. But again, I mean, if you knew you had chronic sinusitis, bro, like this is something you know about. Like this is nothing
Take some
new.
Sudafed.
Well, I mean, you can't. I mean, yes, fall asleep in the middle of a fighting for your life. Yeah, let's
next
take
go
a
down to your
depressant.
local Rite Aid.
Rite Aid. Oh,
Get some
Yeah,
Mucinex.
Oh,
it's called retire. Then, if you got a debilitating quote unquote disease, which sinusitis, give me a break. But anyway, let's just move on. I don't even want to talk about this anymore.
another quick sports hit that came down the wire just yesterday was the runner-up for the MVP in the NBA, James Harden, Mr. Captain Beard himself. He does have a beautiful beard. I aspire to have that type of beard one day.
And a wonderful head of hair as well.
I just wanted to say, before I divulge the numbers that he's getting, I had this discussion with a few guys.
Oh, is that good?
The money is that good
that you got to take.
I gotta preface before I say this numbers. With I feel that athletes are paid in the inverse demand physically that they play. So when I say that, I mean you have baseball players, basketball players that make this, and then in essence, hockey players are the scrubs of the multimillionaires, right? But I feel that they have the most physically demanding sport. Now you have golfers and so on and so forth. But when I heard that he had a 4-year in essence, $228 million extension. $228 million extension through the 2022-2023 season. It had me slam on the brakes and be like, since when do basketball players are making, did I lose this? Since when does a runner-up in the MVP get this? But James Harden is a fantastic player. I mean, he almost averaged 30 points a game last year, but this is incredible. I worked it out because I'm a nerd, and if he worked a normal 40-hour work week, how that works out, he's almost making $30,000 an hour. So with his actual real schedule, he's going to be making a little over $500,000 a game. Does
basketball are their contracts operate like
guaranteed?
Football,
Yeah,
where you got so much guaranteed.
He has like he's actually going to work out to where his next season he's guaranteed like the first 3, and then I think he has the options on the last 2. So it's going to lead into next season where he's $37.8 million, and then that goes up to 43.8, and then finishes at $46.8 million a year.
He's going to get that fuck you,
dude. Man, 40, and you know he's not playing all 48 minutes of the game. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on. Just to critique what you just said, Nate, and correct it. He already had something. This is a whole. This is not even. This is a go kill yourself if you don't make this much money.
Don't even talk to me type.
We're obligated. We're obligated after talking about that to commit suicide after this. It's just be done. Just end it all. We're done right now. It's over with.
I'd like to say we don't condone suicide in any.
Of course not. Of course not. However, if you don't make that much money, if you're so inclined, we understand.
Oh man,
good for him.
I mean,
Rockets. Who did the Rockets get there in free aid? They got someone like Chris Paul. Did he go to Houston?
It was talk. I believe I think he had just recently said it because it just either came out like, or it's going to allegedly like sway him since he just got this big deal or something like that. But I know I don't think it's confirmed yet. I believe he's still just still floating.
It's like, hey Chris, yes hey Chris, just to let you know, we cutting these kind of checks over here.
Yeah.
Just want to let you know.
And
we can't tell you that we're cutting these kind of checks, but we're cutting these kind of checks. If you were so inclined to come holler at us.
And the NBA players have a great representative to where they have it to where they increase the age that you up to 38 years old now, where you can still make FU money up until then. So you have Chris Paul, LeBron James, these guys that are going to be able to make 30 and 40 million a year up until they're 38. That just blows my mind. These guys are going to be in their late 30s and able to still make this type of money. regardless if their play is going to match it. Now, of course, LeBron James is kind of a freak of an example, but using somebody like Chris Paul, who is a good basketball player by today's standards, to be able to make this type of money, all sports are getting this, and it's all the marketing deals that they get, Nate. It's the marketing that they get, because it's not ticket sales, it's not jerseys. These guys are getting these monster deals from AT&T and hey, Bob's Pizza Shop Stadium,
$500 shoes.
Man, yeah. Shout out to Ball. Shout out to LeVar.
Well, I mean, good for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's I just
he can play at the caliber to where you're going to make $200 million over 4 years.
Yeah,
and, hey, good on you.
Yeah, you're doing your thing, man. I hope he doesn't have an injury and has to just watch.
That
his
being
money
said,
grow.
if anyone wants to pay me $200 million to Photoshop for the next 4 years, then
right,
I'm available.
And can you hire me on to plug in your computer? Can I just plug in your computer?
Shoot your shot, bro.
Although I will preface with I'm not too good with typography, so you're limited to just Photoshop.
Some nice word art, some word art in there.
Hey, listen, you were in LA, you need to go and holler at them Kardashians, bro. I guarantee you'll get some money doing that. That is, whoever is doing their Photoshop work is amazing.
Speaking of Kardashians, should we touch on the train wreck, the public train wreck?
Dude.
Here's all I want to talk about. We all knew what Black China was going to do. How did Rob not know? That's why I don't understand.
I ain't saying
how did Rob not know?
But
no, here's what it is. Whatever she has, I'm going to say this because we are a family show. I'm going to say this as not dirty as possible. Whatever she possesses must be the best scante ever.
I got the magic.
It like to where you believe she loves you, like whatever it.
You'll be here. What? So if I'm old and can't take care of myself and I'm into pins, you'll what? Yeah, baby, I'll take care of you. I will definitely take care of you. I won't break up with you
what
4
the
times.
inverse, what the inverse of the magic stick is. To where you can make a woman fall that much in love, all 3 of us know what that's like, but she has the woman's version of that. What I believe was called the whip-a-pill back in the 80s.
That whip-a-pill.
That's what Babyface used to call it.
Has the depth and the warmth to keep Rob Kardashian involved. I'm just saying that. I'm not going to call it.
I'll tell you exactly what
I would like to say perhaps it's called a cunning stunt. But it's obviously got some depth and warmth in there.
Man.
Dude.
She must be a cunning linguist when she says, I love you. Because, man, that dude is... He went crazy.
Has 9
he
lives.
lost... And think about how cold it was. She sent him he spends $250,000 on the 4th. And by the 5th, he has an inbox DM of a video of her making out with a dude who looks way better than him. Like, that hurts.
He paid $250,000 to see her kiss another dude.
Listen, I know the audience out there can't see what we look like, but I have the body of a more Rubenesque Greek god. Okay? And if you know what those words mean, I am very corpulent. Much in the same persuasion as Mr. Rob Kardashian. I'm not going to speak. I can't speak on his behalf, but I'm going to speak on his behalf of all brothers who are Rubenesque and corpulent. Santa Claus-esque, if you will. And I'm just 2004. Yes, velvet teddy bear-ish. Okay? Thank you for the assist, my brother. Okay? I'm just saying. That would hurt my feelings. If my woman sent me a DM of hooking up with a dude who looked like The Rock and I just bought $250,000 of anything. It could be white bread. It could be anything. $250,000 or anything. And she do that to me. You ungrateful motherfucker, you. How could you do this?
I would be upset.
Yeah,
I didn't even spend the money, let alone $250,000. $250,000? $250,000, Craig? And you think I'm crazy? $60 million and I'm crazy?
And the millions. But anyway, but then on top of that, that right there, being the fat dude, seeing a better looking dude than you, getting your juices and berries, okay? But then on top of that, you're not gonna have access to the whipper pill no more.
He doesn't.
None of us understand that. We will never understand what that feels like. So we need to have a little bit more understanding, because whatever that woman put on him, we should all be so lucky to have a little bit, and it's worth the $250,000, and it's worth the humiliation. It's everything, because if it's like having the world in your hands.
Like I got the world in my hands. I will say this on behalf of men. I will say this: Rob Kardashian now possesses empathy. He now possesses empathy.
A civil suit.
He's a broken man who's been done wrong, and the thing is, he's done nothing wrong. He's in a rare position of a guy's perspective where he didn't do anything wrong and he got done wrong.
Oh, no. I'll take that back. No. He has done something wrong. He was born into the Kardashian clan.
That's his fault?
So, yes.
That's his fault for swimming?
Hey, listen.
Swimming the fastest. That should tell you.
He's making
congratulations, you win. In 30
I hear what
years,
you're saying. I agree with you, and I agree with you. But here's the tip. Here's the tip. Pro tip for Rob Kardashian: you now possess the hurt that makes men cheat on women. You now have it. Okay, use it to your advantage. Go be a savage back.
Empathy,
go be a savage, my brother. Do what Snoop said. She saw a sucker, so she decided to go ahead and lick it. You got them licking, so keep on ticking, my brother. Go on out there. You now have that. I'm going to hit the gym. Go get that revenge bod. The best way to get China back is get that revenge bod. I don't care what you say. Revenge bod to an ex, you will always have access.
Boom.
So I'm just telling you.
That's the thing. I'm just
telling
crazy,
you,
man. Talk about that's some musical pain.
I mean, I wish but to your point, to empathize with Rob Kardashian, we all wish we knew then what we know now.
That's the constant paradox.
Jay-Z just wrote a whole album, 444, about that. In fact, pain, that type of pain, makes you go platinum in just a week.
Less than a week.
I'm telling you, that's what he did. We already have kind of glossed over this. If you're listening to this now, that means you have already had access to after the podcast for episode 11. We went into a little bit about 444, so I don't want to get too deep on it. But 444, go ahead and cop that, because that album is
the player way.
So. Yeah, so if you go get that album, you're doing music the player way. We don't talk about music very often, but it is that damn good.
Oh, Triple H style.
Exactly. In this very ring, you step into the ring with the game.
Time to play,
and I always talk like this.
Oh man,
exactly.
Dude, that album is hot, and but you know. The thing is, if you go cop that album, what are you going to do after you cop that album? You're going to come home with it. And somebody else had a homecoming this weekend, too, if I may say so myself.
Go ahead. Hey, we need to make Nate's into a drop.
I love it.
Every time somebody says something good, we need to go with up.
Instead
in fact, I'm gonna give a countdown. Look, I'm gonna give a countdown. We're gonna complete silence, and I want Nate to give us a good. So go ahead, Nate. 3, 2. There you go. We're gonna make that into a drop. Anytime somebody says, anytime something is good. Anytime we talk about somebody like Black China, we give a good what?
Wait.
That's what I'm
She's
talking about.
not
She
even
had
that
that.
hot, honestly. I don't.
Hey, but she must have had them hot pockets, and he dropped his hot pocket.
I dropped my hot pocket. I was
She's like a good meat patty.
CMP, make it drop my hot pocket.
Everybody love it. Everybody love it. But yeah, Spider-Man: Homecoming is the subject of the box office hustle.
But yeah, let's do that.
Quiet on the set. Can we please have quiet on the set?
Yes, can I have your attention, please? Box office.
All right, it's time for the box office
First of
hustle.
all, let's shout out to Nate for our graphic design this week for the Player Way podcast.
Absolutely, we got. Absolutely, Nate. If y'all don't know, if you have seen our artwork for our album art for our podcast and iTunes, Google Play, on Facebook, all of that artwork comes from the very mind and wrist action of Nathan,
the
Nate,
topographer,
our guy, our Nate.
Yes.
So Nate is an amazing graphic artist, and he comes up with all of that stuff and makes us look and helps us do our identity and brand
The Player Way.
So shout out to Nate for that. Nate, so shout out to you for that. So Derek, give us a quick rundown of what the movie is about, and then after we get a quick rundown, we got to get into that gentleman's bet action.
Oh, he doesn't mention it twice now. You already know the gloat is on. The gloat is on. Spider-Man: Homecoming. We finally get to see him. We haven't seen him since Civil War last May, or whenever you most recently watched Civil War, which was just a couple weeks ago for me. And as Nate alluded to last week, this does timeline events leading up to, during, and after. And I really like how they actually put that together, because it's another thing we talk about on the show often, how there's things that we don't need to know, and there's things that we already know that we might need a brief reminder of. This does it perfectly. As we don't need from Spider-Man, we don't need an origin story, and they beautifully say it in the movie. Oh, that spider's dead. Perfect. Yes, move on. We already know how you got this, but is there another? Yes, it was perfect.
Don't need to see Uncle Ben.
We don't need to see Uncle Ben on the rice box anymore. We don't need to see him anymore.
No.
We already know. We already know it boiled over. It's done. We get it. Aunt May. Yeah. But this was great. Gentlemen, did you? I enjoyed it as a movie. I enjoyed it as a comic fan. I enjoyed it as critically as I could. I was entertained the whole movie. As again, Marvel did it again. Before we, I guess, timeline the whole movie. I mean, what about you, Nate? What'd you think about it? Just initial reaction.
I really enjoyed it. I mean, I took a bunch of bullet point notes that. For high points of movie.
Ooh, Nate got show notes? Uh-oh.
Let me start by saying this. They really hit the fact that Spider-Man is a teenager.
Thank you.
Within that whole video blog, more so than those fucking moody Power Rangers that are supposed to be teenagers.
He totally did. It was solely,
like just from his video blog in the beginning of the movie. Yes. You know, you see this kid, he's excited. You know, he acts exactly how you would as a 15-year-old.
The whole movie, it's like that. There were so many times I was like, why is he making that decision? Then I realized, I'm more than twice his age, and I would have made a dumb decision like that at 14 or 15 as well. So, okay, I get it.
Which, kind of leads to, like, the other big point I really loved about this is Spider-Man's a very nascent hero. He's not a very good one. Word. You know, he keeps making mistakes. They had that Ferris Bueller montage where he's like breaking
and then
the
they
fences.
Actually showed Ferris Bueller.
It's side scrolling. Yeah, exactly. And you're like, he's not even till where he tried to shoot his webs in an open field and just fell down.
It's so perfect. Like he is 15.
I love that.
He is 15. They haven't even dropped yet.
I didn't realize like that bugged me about the older Spider-Man movies initially until I watched this one. Is like, in the older ones, whenever they got their powers, all of a sudden, next thing you know, they're swinging on their webs throughout New York City.
Well, Tobey Maguire didn't. He did have some faults.
Yeah,
but
he had a 5-minute training montage. But like we got even to the. I'm gonna jump ahead. I'm not gonna run through the plot, but these were points like I really liked. The Washington Monument part where he's afraid of heights.
Yes.
He says it. This is the highest I've ever been. And you sort of feel that. You're like, well, fuck, I would be like that too.
I would, yes. How often the highest you've ever been is probably on a roller coaster, and he's 500 feet up in the air. He's like, and he slips a few times. That was even better because you got to see, be like, he could fall, and he has nothing to swing on except for this only obelisk.
They do a good job of that same point. They do a good job of grounding him into reality, where other times other directors have said, well, we're trying to ground him into reality. No, they actually show you, like, he can't just jump to the top of the Washington Monument. It's a very tall obelisk, and it takes a long time. he can't just shoot into the air and catch onto a building when he's in the middle of a neighborhood. I love the golf course where he does the stereotypical off to screen, and then you see where the web goes. It just goes off into a blank golf course, and there's no trees or anything to link onto.
It's off the screen.
I love that. Show notes for this, I specifically wrote the Marvel realism in movies. Just him leaving his backpack and it getting stolen. I'm like, thank you. In so many other movies, some hero has left their clothes hidden and sequestered in some little corner. I'm like, he's in New York. It's going to be gone. And then later on, Aunt May was like, that's your 5th backpack. It means he's an irresponsible teenager and he keeps losing it. It's another, I'm like, oh yeah, he's a kid. He's going to make mistakes like this. He's still learning his powers. He had dumb questions for the AI to us, but she's like, wait, you don't know about this protocol? Nope. I don't know about this. They did it so well. You're constantly reminded that he's a teenager that has even superhuman strength, but still doesn't even know what to do with it.
And going back to the teenager part, the reason why we don't need an origin story for a teenage superhero is because he doesn't need any motivation to be a superhero. He has superpowers. No, he has superpowers. I want to use them more because I grew up watching.
It's to impress Mr. Stark.
Yes.
You know,
yeah, I want to be an Avenger. Yeah. Exactly. What more motivation do I need? I don't need with great power comes great responsibility. Like, no, we don't need to hear all that antiquated stuff. On top of that, they do a good job of setting up more so that he's an Ant-Man level superhero. Yeah. Like, the story reminds you of Ant-Man a lot. The beats, the tone, and the stakes are at a level, even though the Vulture is, to me, done amazingly well.
Oh, we didn't even touch on
we'll get back to We haven't even touched on him yet. We're getting to it. But they do a good job of showing, even with what that guy was trying to do, that guy wasn't trying to end the world. He was just trying to get a quick come up of cash.
You know what? Let's get into the
You know what I'm saying? He was
there.
never.
I like how they did that.
He's not a bad guy.
They
He's not a bad guy. He's not trying to hurt anybody. He just wants to be left alone and make money.
He wasn't a bad guy. He was a construction contractor. Worked hard to get a contract to clean up some of the rubble from the Avengers fight.
He was. You might even say he was in waste You might even say he was in waste management.
Oh, Tony Soprano style.
Yeah, that's who you reminded me of.
Motherfucker.
The shoelaces, Tony. It's the shoelaces. It starts out first, Michael Keaton does excellent as this. First of all, let me just leave with that. And he argues with the FBI, and it's like, what? I worked hard for this contract, and he's cleaning up the remnants from the first Avengers fight. And it's not the FBI. Nate, who is it?
Damage Control.
Oh, Damage Control.
Woo! I was so excited to see that.
My bad. Yeah. The only reason I said FBI is because the same guys that were with Tom Daly were the ones that were on the ferry. That's the only reason why I said FBI. Because they said FBI.
And they did mess up, and they did say FBI. You're right.
Yeah,
and I just like how they introduced, and they're like, boom, 8 years later. We don't need to know because we know Avengers 1, 2, Civil War, Thor 1, 2. We're Ant-Man. We're already good. We know what's happened since then. And then just how throughout the movie you kept hearing everybody else's remarks of superheroes. How they were like, yeah, man, this is what my kids are drawing these days. That's what they're all into now. It's not cowboys and Indians anymore. It's green guys and aliens. It's this. I mean, it's like the world is changing. These guys are going to start running the earth, and we got to get a piece of it because we don't have any superpowers, but we have some of this alien technology. And let's be honest, fellas, this is what real men would do. If I didn't have superpowers, I want to get the closest thing to it. And if I have access to alien technology, then I'm going to get a crew and we're going to hustle too. And we're going to figure this out. I don't know if I'm selling guns on the black market, but I'm going to have a cool house. At least that.
And what I love is it was a villain who was not trying to be a villain.
Yeah.
He was just trying to use the tools he had at his disposal to pull off bank
and have
robberies.
a better life.
Like, that's all this
was. He was just selling technology that he had a crew, a fairly loyal crew.
He didn't even want to kill Spider-Man. Like every other superhero's like, I'm going to kill Spider-Man. When he finds out, and there's a moment where they have an interaction where the truth is revealed, okay? He doesn't even want to kill him.
You
want
to leave it like that? I think
here's what's going to happen.
Let's leave it like that. A moment where the truth is revealed. I like that.
Yeah, and it's like, here's a moment where, listen, I could do something to you if I really wanted to, but if you listen to me, you can leave with your life. You feel what I'm saying? Like, he's not an evil dude. He's not at any time do you get an idea that he's a bad dude. He does bad stuff.
Going to do bad things.
And it's just more of the consequence. And it's more of a consequence of the toys that were left behind by the Chitauri. It just shows you that their technology needs to be controlled by somebody, because if left unchecked, you might accidentally disintegrate it.
And I would like...
that was a good point, though. It started with, like, remnants of the Chitauri, but then it went on to
fights.
The Dark Elf stuff. Like, that's where the teleporty things came from. Yeah, and then, stuff left over from Ultron.
I would like...
It's like that... They did a real good job of tying this into the MCU, with just mentions of characters, with the girls playing the who would you rather marry game.
It's just what real life would be.
Cap,
this is how it would be.
The Cap videos, the Cap school video. Who didn't see videos like that in high school?
Bill Clinton.
So you're in detention.
It was a nod to Bill Clinton's American President Fitness Challenge. We all did that. We all did that back in grade school and in middle school.
I really loved that they showed more Peter Parker
than Spider-Man,
or just as much Peter Parker. It focused on his life in high school, because it was very much a high school movie.
One thing that I like that Bokeem played Shocker, first of all, and I also like that he had a yellow long sleeve shirt with the quilted pattern that Shocker used to wear back in the day with his full body encasement quilted northern suit that was yellow, and I like that they at least kept that in there. And I didn't realize that the actor that got eviscerated earlier on, the one that was playing the Shocker, that was the dude from Devil, wasn't it? Wasn't it the same actor?
I believe so, yeah. And he was also in Prometheus. He was the first guy that died in Prometheus.
Oh, speaking of Alien Covenant, is
speaking
not even
of,
on
actually,
Box Office
wait,
Mojo this weekend, because it didn't even. It's out of theaters.
That was another good point. When they started announcing casting for this movie, they announced all these guys were going to be villain roles. The Shocker. Everybody knew
this ain't no bitch.
Vulture was going to be the main one. They did a very good job of juggling, having multiple villains. Like the guy, the Tinkerer. The guy that was making all this stuff. He was the Tinkerer. But you wouldn't even. All he did was make shit.
Which is exactly
good.
As
he wasn't.
Should have been.
And they even had Matt Gargan. Oh, and even Donald Glover.
Yes,
he plays
I love that he was in there.
Aaron Davies, who's the Prowler in the Ultimate Universe, who is uncle to Miles Morales. Opening up that sort of bookend, like, hey, this can come in the future. Because he even mentions in the movie, I have a nephew.
You do that. You deserve that. This dissolves in 2 hours. You deserve that, though. I loved it. I loved that part.
Yeah. Wait, where's that girl voice you used?
Bitch, what?
I will, this goes back to the high school thing, but I like that Flash Thompson wasn't like a physically imposing bully. It was sort of the sign of the times, like he was more of a mental, social bully, penis Parker.
Yes.
Well, and I like that they play around that he's not necessarily at odds with Peter. They're kind of friends. He just picks on him a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in the comics, that they kind of do that to where him and Peter do become friends. Like in every other incarnation in the movie, he's like a sociopath who is like bent on killing Peter Parker. And if Peter Parker didn't have superpowers, he would be dead by now. Like, if not for the Spidey sense, he would be in the hospital.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go again.
I got a question for y'all when y'all are ready to take questions at this press conference.
This is the main thing I really loved about this movie. The ending was sort of a, juxtaposition with the ending to Iron Man 1.
Oh my God.
And,
your lexicon is delicious.
Also, they invoked also the feeling of the original Civil War where Iron Man had Peter Parker go public with his appearance, but deciding, I'm good, we don't have to go there with it. I love that.
And it goes back to that line Tony has where he's like, I want you to be better than me. And in a sense, like, this is all, to me, it was like, this is like passing the torch, Iron Man.
The whole movie, I had that vibe of Iron Man, and then just how he is specifically mentoring him on how to just, these are where I made my mistakes coming up as Iron Man. Let me make you, if we're going to make you into this Ultimate Spider-Man that I can see you in, that's my vision for you. Let me help you out every step of the way. And what's crazy is I feel like I saw a lot of Tony Stark, but then it didn't see a lot of Tony Stark. Like, it was just like a perfect balance just between the two, where he's like, Peter Parker's clearly obsessed with the Stark internship, but he's really left to his own devices, and then ends up making a very mature decision. Oh, this was just a test? Yeah, totally just a test. You passed, kid. But it doesn't matter to Tony. I mean, we'll just come up with something else. I'm wearing red underwear. That's the press conference announcement that I wanted to make. And it
was good to see Pepper.
It was very good.
absolutely.
That was a nice surprise. It was an overall good arc for him. You know, he goes from a kid just wanting to be Tony Stark to having the opportunity, and he's like, you know what, and he knows he's not ready. You know,
and not only that, but they also show a really good arc for other characters like Happy. Where Happy, when we are introduced to him, he's more of like a butler servant type, and now you see that he's going to be possibly used in other movies as a more impactful role, and we're seeing the progression of his character. We see Tony Stark, who at the end of during Civil War, he's this character who's all work and no play, and that's the reason why Pepper and him are at odds. But now you see him, he's not Iron Man all the time. Like, he's found ways to make the AI work for him so that he doesn't have to physically be there. He's out in Sri Lanka or wherever he's at, and he's on a vacation, obviously probably with Pepper. You know, he's at this press conference actually with Pepper. He's finding a way to have a balance with his own life. So you see he's not this broken guy we see at the end of Captain America Civil War. Obviously something has been going on with him that makes him a much better person. And at any time, they can go back and go into that story if they want to.
Speaking of AI,
I
don't know.
No, you're good. Go ahead. AI.
Do you want to go?
I was just going to say.
I was going to say, it's a fun fact. The AI in his suit, Spidey's suit, was voiced by Jennifer Connelly.
It sure was.
The wife of Paul Bettany, who was Jarvis, which was a nice little throwback.
And she also once played Thunderbolt Ross's daughter.
Oh, yeah,
which in one incarnation
in a movie we dare not name.
Exactly. That shall not be named.
Where Hulk fought a cloud at the end of the movie.
Take it all.
Played by the guy from Blue Chips.
Nick Nolte, I'm gonna be your daddy. I really enjoyed this. Well, question I wanted to ask you guys is, you kind of touched on it, BK, when we talked about it. Now, that suit that we saw at the
end,
yes, was it Ultimate or was it a lead in toward the Iron Spider? Because the modified Iron Spider, I know the original one had 8 legs. The modified one only has 3, but we didn't get to see the back of it, so I don't know if it involved. Well, that, what do you?
There's several Iron. There's several Spider-Man. There's several different Spider-Man armors that he has throughout the series, so it could have been any one of those. I think what they were doing is giving a nod to all of them at the same time.
It was very visually.
We don't really get to see all of them.
It was aesthetically pleasing.
Whatever it was, it's obvious from the sheen of it. It was going to take him to the next level, and he was kind of making him the replacement Iron Man. So
I could see them. Yeah. I could see him wearing it in Infinity War.
Absolutely.
He will. At least
it's time to get that upgrade.
Especially if he's going to be space battling.
I would just like to say his suit, like this time, was just awesome. It was just incredibly awesome. It was simple. It was visually acceptable, and as you talked about, you weren't sure if the AI was going to be a little too much, and they peppered it in just enough, and then give me it back. You're on.
Oh, dude, when it went into kill mode and the eyes got all
small. And then he's like, just do whatever, and then he thought he shoots his web. He's like, what was that? Well, you said go back to normal. Oh my god.
I love the little nods to say, hey, DC, this is how much story we have that we're just not even going to go into. Yeah. We can make it like, oh, yeah, we could go there, but we're not even going to go there this time. We're just going to play around with
2 movies based off this
one scene.
What
did you guys think about what did you guys think about the Michelle character, who obviously is not Mary Jane, but is invoking shades of MJ?
I think there's just, you know what? If I had to take a guess, I would say they're just going to do a different iteration of MJ, not do like the classic what's been done by Kirsten Dunst. You know, make this a new.
You know what part I just thought about?
MJ.
You should kiss her right now when he was hanging upside down. I was like, gross.
Yes,
that was awesome.
That was
That was a nice throwback.
Or when Flash is driving up to the prom and he's like, that Branzino was definitely not fresh.
Yes. Oh, this is so great. So great. And I love Marvel started. I didn't talk about it after I saw Guardians, but I love their graphic of how they're just showing actual just clips of the other movies now, and it's just even more detailed. I can't wait to see how they keep going. It's just
and to go along with that same point, they finally gave us the Spider-Man theme in a full orchestral fashion. I was like, this is the movie you deserved. Yeah. This is the movie this is it. Get ready. Congratulations. You are here finally. It's like, yes.
It was awesome. I did see a cool...
I love it.
Sony better be fucking taking notes, man.
I was surprised to actually see their logo first. Man. I'm not going to lie. I thought they were going to be at least... but surprised to see that first.
I believe they paid for the movie.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah. I don't think Disney gets a cut of the profits at all on Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh, really? Okay.
Now, I do have a moment of silence I do want to deliver for anyone who watched this film, okay? A moment of silence for anyone who watched this film and said, hey, where's the Spider sense at? I don't understand. If you paid attention in Captain America Civil War, he tells you that he has to wear goggles to dull his senses because his senses overload his brain with information. He has Spidey sense, but he wears goggles to dim it down. Yeah. Which leads you to believe that they may be able to create goggles at some point that will enable it, or he'll be able to control his powers more. There's little hints here and there. For example, when he's on the balcony and he almost falls off at one point, and he kind of surprises himself that he catches himself when he kind of falls off the balcony and I can freestand. He doesn't make a big deal about it, and there's not this huge...
Yeah, slow down.
They don't overplay.
Yeah.
They don't overplay what it is. It's very subtle. Everything is very subtle, even down to the fact that the webbing doesn't just automatically stick. If a fat person moves on an object that he's holding up, hey, homeboy, stop moving because you're going to make the webbing snap.
Yes.
You know, it's like... there's all of the mechanics of everything make so much sense.
You want to know what my favorite scene was?
And this just goes back to it. It's like he's not good at this yet.
Yes, exactly. He himself, there's so much going on. He doesn't even understand. His powers are much like his suit. There's so much stuff going on there, and it's packed with so much stuff. He doesn't even know what he can do yet.
He doesn't. I thoroughly enjoyed this. One of my favorite scenes was when he I guess he just musters up his strength to come out of that
yes.
Now I will say the half Spider Mask has face was a smidge cheesy. Yes. Cheesy. However, no. I appreciate it. However, it was just a smidge. Like I didn't need the voiceover of Tony saying that part. However, just seeing him cry out for genuine help, like I am lost right now and I have no idea what to do, and then him remembering those words, just like that was just a powerful scene. And shout out to Tom Holland, man. He acted his ass off in this whole movie. I believed he was a teenager. I believed he had spider powers the whole movie. I believe it's a good movie. Even if you don't like comics, this is another good movie just because Marvel knows what the hell they're doing when they're trying to make movies.
This film isn't just a homecoming, it's a coming of age tale. So he finally, in that moment, gets why Tony says he's not ready. Because children cry out for their parents when they're in trouble. Adults make shit happen. And he's like, listen, and that's why he talks to himself, come on, Spider-Man. Like, I'm Spider-Man. If I'm gonna be that dude, I gotta be that dude. I can't save anybody if I can't save myself. Gunshot. You know what I'm saying? That was I'm telling you.
That was it. I did see a slightly different trailer for Justice League before this. Did you guys see? I saw a different one that I hadn't seen before. Nope, neither of y'all.
Listen, I don't even want to talk about Justice League on this episode.
We're talking about Spider-Man, dude.
Justice League. About Spider-Man.
Justice League. You're talking about Justice
League. I saw a different trailer. That's all.
We're talking about Justice League. Look, Justice League are who we thought they are. Let them off the hook.
We let them off the hook.
You know,
we ain't gonna let them off the hook. We ain't gonna let them off the hook.
This goes back to what we were saying about not needing to see Uncle Ben's death before. But there was that moment where Aunt May freaks out because Peter wasn't answering her phone calls.
And it was
he
just
gets
enough.
home and she's like, where? And that was enough to know that, like, yeah, this woman went through trauma.
5
She lost her husband. Yeah.
Oh, and shout out to the closing.
What the? Bro,
that was the best ending ever.
Not just that. But shout out to the director with the acting. You could tell that there are beats that the director is working with each actor on to make sure that they emote in a way that gives you an understanding of the subtext that they are dealing with before the scene happened and after it's going on. Like, Aunt May obviously is probably a bit of a stoner or something because she's always kind of off a little bit. And in order to live with a kid and not guess that he's Spider-Man, you kind of got to be like a little off a little bit. So I love that they play Marissa Tomei's
and then I like
incarnation
the fact
of
how
Aunt May.
they sew it in.
Aunt May, they usually play in other two films as if she's like this all-knowing person and she's savvy. But then you'd have to be a sadistic woman to let your kid go out there and do it. So like she's all the time she's saying stuff like you go out in the middle of the night and this, but she's kind of like something is like I said, it kind of implies she's a stoner, man. Like I burned the food, so let's go out. I larb you, larb. Like it's like she does little things here and there. She's goofy, yeah, and I love that because it adds to the fact that when she's gonna continue to let Spider-Man, Peter Parker be Spider-Man, she's obviously something is going on with her that she's dealing with that we'll probably go into at another time. So I love that these characters feel real to me. They make real choices. They do things that you would
Marvel
do.
Realism
When we as an audience,
the realism.
when we as an audience want Happy to answer the phone, he does what happens in real life. I don't want to talk to this kid. I'm looking at the text messages and I'm not paying attention. And then comes back and says, yeah, I messed up. Sorry.
And then just like we were just saying, just that last scene, he did exactly what a teenager would do. Let me put this suit on and stand in my room and look awesome. But I forgot to close the door. Oh shit! What the? Like it's real. It's what I would forget. I would forget to be like, oh yeah, I'm back in the game. Let me. Oh, like just that throughout the whole movie. Like you said, when Happy answered the phone when his friend called, he's like, "What? Are you kidding me? I don't have time for this shit."
So yeah,
I
amazing
do.
story.
I really like the fact that he didn't beat the Vulture.
Yes,
he did.
I love that too. The Vulture beat himself. Yeah. I love that. And I'm trying to save
Spider-Man
you.
would always do. Turn him into the.
He saved him.
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
And they never called him the Vulture. All it was a sign that said, "Hey, I caught the Vulture guy."
Yes. Yeah, and that's how you got his name. Any weaknesses with this film?
The first one that comes to mind is the timing. They say 8 years after the Battle for New York. I understood the Battle for New York to be in 2012 when the original Avengers came out. That puts this movie at 2020. Obviously, it's not at 2020. It's supposed to be set in present day. But that's like nitpicking,
Yeah. Like I said, one of the things that I had a problem with is when I originally watched the twist that we talked about, which if you're really paying attention to this, you'll get it. But you probably would have to see the movie. Yeah, but you'd also have to watch the movie and be able to get the context on which I was talking about.
Just admit it. You accidentally said it. Just admit it. A little.
I didn't accidentally. I said it on purpose. We always say this is a spoiler cast. Y'all two are the ones talking about.
No, actually, we all agreed on this earlier. We all agreed on it earlier. It's like
we talked about the ending.
I agreed to nothing.
But
I agreed to nothing.
Said that we would say we'll leave it the moment of truth. You remember that talk? We can.
Yeah, and the thing that I said was not connected to those.
You said,
words.
but
that could have been anything.
Well, I want to do this to draw attention to it.
You have to specifically know. Exactly,
but it's still after you said
you're the one that connected. I did it later. I dropped little things.
We got.
I gave them the opportunity to say, "Oh, that's what they were talking about. That's why they said that." But you connected the dots. Hey, guy, dot here at this point goes exactly with this dot later in the podcast.
I'm still after
connected for you.
So was originally pinpointed. I'm just pointing out the dots, but I'm kind of like trying to Michael J. Fox it and not connect it correctly. Because of his Parkinson's disease.
That's fucked up, dude.
Is it?
And we're back from the moment. We had a little technical difficulty moment, and but we're back. I appreciate you guys.
Michael J. Fox is a saint.
I just want to let you guys know that we do not condone any sort of Parkinson's disorder hate
Yeah,
of
we're not-
any
yeah.
way. Parkinson's
nothing
is
to
a
joke
serious thing.
Shout out to Muhammad Ali.
And we're back from another moment of technical difficulty. We just had another moment of technical difficulty. Again, we do not condone any sort of hate on people who suffer from this debilitating disease. It is not funny, and using it for
Saying it
comedic
with a
devices,
smile.
while it is effective, while it may be effective, it is not. It is no laughing matter. So back to the matter at hand. The matter at hand, indeed,
Is the virtual handshake.
Before we do the gentleman's bet, there was one more thing I wanted to mention because I think
go ahead.
set up for future Spider-Man movies is Tony did sell Avengers Tower. They say that a couple
they made
times,
sure.
and throughout the movie they're moving out. I'm really hoping the buyer is Osborn.
Oh man, I thought you were gonna say they were gonna place that A with
Dude,
a 4,
I would-
man.
that
I
would
would
be the
love that.
business.
That would be the next.
I'm hoping that Osborn's the one that buys the building, and that's how you introduce
We
him.
need to at least have.
That would be, and it would be cool. It would be cool that there are things left behind in that building that Stark didn't get in a happy kind of.
Yeah, and they could maybe show one
moving
time
out.
where he
That
was
would- that would
fumbling
work.
with his phone, dealing with all these calls from Peter, where he overlooked one arc reactor or something like that, or
Yeah.
even on the beach, perhaps.
Yeah,
Or a glider,
I was
some
thinking
sort
on
of
the
glider.
beach actually, because a lot of merchandise is out there. You're gonna have fun
True.
editing all
But
this
yeah.
if we're gonna get to the gentleman's bet.
absolutely. Well, it is, and yeah, there's no time like the present to give me my present.
Bets. Place your bets here. We got a gentleman bet right over here. Let's get it going, boys.
Let's go ahead and break it down. Alien Covenant is no longer on weekend box office mojo because it's apparently not in theaters anymore. So I can't even tell you.
Wait. Hold on. I think it's time for a moment of silence. Nate, we've been waiting for this moment of silence for quite a while. Like the Ricketts outbreak, we've been tracking the death of something else, and it has finally died a death.
It's taken, 2 months? Less than 2 months?
Less than 2 months for sure.
But
Less than
Alien Covenant has finally been laid to its final resting place on DVD and video on demand.
Oh yes. But to bring it back to the matter at hand, Spider-Man opens domestically at 117,015,092. So that means that the person that is the closest, keep in mind I really said I wanted pizza because I'm a fat boy at heart. Keep in mind that BK did say I would like to say 115, but I'm going to throttle it back 3 million and say 112. And I believe Nate was at 120 or 125.
I believe
125. He's at 125.
I knew
He's
BK
at
was going to
125.
remember. That's the only reason I said that.
Oh,
You
yes.
remember when you win and you'll forget when you lose. If you learn how to do this,
Hey,
tell me
editing
how.
dato. Editing dato.
Editing dato. So, at the moment, it seems
Let's put this into perspective, though. It opened at 117 million. Amazing Spider-Man was 91 million. Amazing Spider-Man 2, which terrible. So
And yeah, and in a better economy when it comes to movies. And what I
Yeah.
mean by that, meaning that was a period of time where Transformers was making over 100 million a weekend. At
Transformers
that time.
made
its total
6
domestic gross.
this weekend.
Its total domestic gross for its lifetime was only 202 million. So
Crazy.
it could
Worldwide.
be, no, domestic. Worldwide,
Oh.
it made 708, which is
Okay,
why.
my bad.
But
I flew too
Spider-Man:
close to the
Homecoming
sun.
can beat the domestic gross for the last movie probably in 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks.
But bringing
Yeah.
that up, which I just happen to have a couple tabs open here, we did talk about this. Now I've realized, Nate, whenever I listen to these podcasts, it sounds like I'm already ready to bash and destroy your stance of Wonder Woman not making Guardians of the Galaxy money. So I want to take a step back and sound a little more pragmatic. And not that I'm like Homer calling this in. So I've realized that I'm like, man, I'm always like jumping on it. So Nate had stated that Wonder Woman would not make Guardians of the Galaxy money, BK countered with, yes, it will. And Nate said, nuh-uh. And BK said, yuh-huh. He said, well, we'll just revisit this after the 4th of July weekend and just see where the numbers are at. Now, Nate, I believe, originally gave a $10 million buffet. I don't believe he ever amended it. So, to give domestic and worldwide numbers, because like Nate is, he could be Mr. 305. He could be worldwide. And for those who can't see, BK is dabbing. Shout out to Lil Dicky to stop the dab. Wonder Woman, domestic, $368,786,191.12. And Guardians, domestic, which came out a month earlier than Wonder Woman. A whole month earlier. Like 30 whole days. Domestic is $385,546,006.27. Worldwide, because we did discuss this, because we discussed, hey, would you round up? He's still dabbing, y'all. Stop the dab. Worldwide, Guardians is at $857,745,000, which is incredible. And Wonder Woman is at 745 worldwide. So it's about 110 million less worldwide, but then again, it's been out a month less. So this horse, not only is it dead and has been buried and decomposed, rigor mortis, post-mortem, had a ghost come back and possess a dog into thinking it was a horse and ate too much hay and died again because we had to beat that one to death. And then so on and so forth. The cycle has come to this, where Nate has to at least say that it has done at least Guardians money, because that means, and technically in another month we could revisit this again, which I kind of hope we do, just to see where we're at. But Wonder Woman and Guardians are within now, let's see, 368 to 385. We're less than 20 million away, and it has a whole month lead on it. So Wonder Woman has surprised everybody, including Nate Dogg, out in LA.
I feel like I already admitted this in previous podcasts.
You did. He did. Bringing it around. We're just playing that track again. It's like I got the world in my hand. Yes, I told you it was. It's like I got Wonder Woman in my hands. But so this means that I will definitely be eating pizza, which I'm okay with. I want pizza. I want all kinds of pizza.
I'm only going to eat a slice because I'm not going to do that.
I better one slice. Oh my gosh! All right.
I'll gladly lose the pizza challenge. I don't give a fuck. I'm not here to try. This isn't man versus food.
I know you're okay with losing since you made that bet. So we'll just move forward.
Well, what we may have to do is we may have to have Nate trade one of my punishments from one of the other bets I lost.
Oh,
so that I can get some up on that pizza.
Do that.
I'm gonna sweeten the deal because I would gladly like to try to conquer.
We could. I do want to at least mention before
the Pie in the Sky challenge.
Stanley lost his wife of 69 years.
Hold on. I know you're not trying to do the moment of silence.
It's not a moment of silence. Moment of silence is the goofy.
Yeah,
this is like legitimate. Hey, Stanley lost his wife.
No, we've done legit moment of silence.
Yeah, Chris Cornell.
Yeah, we sure did.
Adam West.
Nate, go ahead and take it. Go ahead.
Come on, man.
We trying to take my segment, right?
He used words in a louder voice, so that must mean his point is more valid. Please proceed, Nate.
I'm glad you got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
If I say things louder, you must agree.
That's how our president got elected.
Moment of silence for Stanley's wife, who passed away, but she did live a long life. And
95 years old. And she did the voice of Madam Wang on that animated Spider series back in the 90s. I didn't know that.
I'd be happy.
And shout out to
hit 95.
And in all seriousness, people may think that we're being funny about this, but no, this is a serious. I'm not being funny about this. As Darius Prather said on Facebook, shout out to Darius, Nerdy Aesthetic,
trendy cosplayer,
on Instagram.
Trendy cosplayer on Instagram.
He changed it. Trendy cosplayer now on Instagram. As he said on Facebook so eloquently, somebody please go put Stan Lee in a bubble. We don't want him to go anywhere. We have more movies to make. We need cameos still made.
Right. It's a great time to be alive. So, 69 years married, and he actually didn't even, when he met her, he wasn't even planning to meet her. He was going to the house to meet her friend Betty or something, and then she answered the door, and he's like, I think I proposed to her at lunch. And boom, there we go. She actually convinced. She was actually the push that made him even come up with Fantastic Four, because he was in a slump in the 50s and just thought that comics weren't going to go anywhere. And she said, "Take some time and figure out what you're wanting to do." And he created the Fantastic Four. So, condolences, Stan. 69 years, incredible. Share us your secret, how you were able to live with somebody for 69 years. And grant your wisdom, and thank you for what you have on this earth. I hope that you're doing all right, sir. That is a powerful loss. And as we know, usually on things like this, people who are married and been together that long, usually, like you said, Darius, we need to put Stanley in a bubble, because that is a powerful thing to get through.
And then the other moment of silence, Nate?
Nelson Ellis, who died really young, actually. 39 years old. He played Lafayette in True Blood. That's actually, I'm not going to lie, I don't really recall any other things he did. I did watch True Blood, so I knew him from that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's sad.
Definitely one of the more memorable characters, beloved characters.
He's a
from that
great
series.
character on that series. Definitely brought together a lot of things on there. That's very, very young.
Died very young. Died very young.
But so yeah. So we want to at least do that. If we talk about this industry, there is that side of it out there too. And Nate, I wasn't trying to step on your toes by getting on your moment of silence. I do apologize, and I hope
you
that
did.
I might let it happen again.
Apologize!
I hope that you find it in your heart to forgive me.
I'm going to pull Rob Kardashian and
send me a
just
picture
post a
of
bunch
you
of-
making out with a dude that looks better than me. What's happening?
No,
I don't understand this.
I'm going to post a bunch of your aggressive pictures online.
I'm running. I don't know what aggressive pictures you're talking about.
Oh, you know the aggressive stance.
Take us to the end, BK. Take us to the end. Play us out, man. Play us out.
Derek, you started it out. Nate, take it away. What you got going on this week?
This I was kind of excited for because I enjoyed the video game series, but Castlevania Season 1 is
Yes!
on
I'm
Netflix.
so glad.
It's animated. Yeah. I remember playing Castlevania. So this I'm going to check out. I think it's a pretty short Season 1.
It's only 4 episodes, yeah.
Well, easy.
You'll
Done.
watch that tonight.
I can take care of that at work tomorrow.
He works very hard.
Derek, go ahead.
Work from home.
Nice.
Derek, what you got?
I was actually going to do the same thing because that popped up on my Netflix deal too. So,
Liar.
If you could see my screen right now, you would know that there is no lie to be found under this.
It's the face of a liar.
That's kind of right.
Are you looking for the lie? D?
I was looking for a lie. I had a crystal ball and everything. But honestly,
couldn't find
I'm fully caught up on Dragon Ball Super. They just had another great installment on that episode.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did have a good episode this week. Oh, so good.
My Hero Academia is. I don't even want to get into it right now, but I'm gonna go back and watch the last 5 episodes again just because I need another hit. I'm just saying that. BK, get on that one. Get on that season 2.
And speaking of another hit, a man that was behind many, many hits is Mr. Jimmy Iovine. And on HBO this week, a 4-part documentary event, The Defiant Ones, about Jimmy Iovine and the foundation of Interscope Records. Some of your greatest music acts he was behind, how he came into the business, and who he met along the way. I believe he talks about Bono with U2. He also talks about Dr. Dre. So an amazing series that really gives you a look and a peek behind the iron curtain that is Interscope Records. And with that being said, that's going to do it for this week. Shout out to my co-captains, Derek.
Y'all already know who it is, and I'm still extra, always extra. And I'm just going to let this handle. Let me let Nate promote me as well.
And Nate.
I find that I'm a sufficient amount, adequate, as I would put it. Don't need to be extra.
Okay. And I'm
on that
BK.
bombshell.
And I'm BK, and that's going to do it to show you how to do media the player way. No matter what you do, no matter what your paths you may follow in life, as long as you follow it the player way, you'll be okay. Catch us every week on iTunes, on Instagram, everywhere you want to. Just hashtag Player Way Podcast or hashtag Play Your Way Network. You can also find us at playlifeyourway.com. And yeah, get us, man, because we're having fun out here. We want you to have fun with us and help you do life the player way. We'll holler at y'all next week.
Thanks for listening to the Player Way Podcast. Recorded in a single take from Los Angeles, California, Dallas, Texas, and Atlanta, Georgia, by Nathan Petersen, Derreck Lewis, and BK Jackson. Our opening theme is titled Bound by Ricky Remedy, courtesy of Elysian Records. And our closing theme is titled Coconut King Diaries by Xander, spelled Zahnder. You can find this music by both Ricky Remedy and Xander, and many more tracks on SoundCloud. And remember, no matter what choices you make or paths you follow, just make sure you do it the player way. See you next week.